What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. You're on Why We Serve with Benjamin Lake. I think I'm actually getting the audio down now to where you can actually hear me. So hopefully that's working out. Today we got our fifth episode going out. I got a very special guest. With me today is Danielle Lake, my wife. What's going on?
Hey guys.
Yeah. She's kind of been watching me start this journey, and I think it's important to get her story out there because she served as well. She did active duty Army as well. She's gonna kind of go over that. Me and her in all of our conversations, we've talked about it, but we've probably never really dove into the weeds on it too deep of like our hardcore passions about joining or anything like that. So I'll be learning a little bit with you guys. We're just going to go over that, her time in, what that was like. And then her, she eventually got out. And that's kind of a special circumstance, what she went through. We'll kind of go over that with her and ultimately her feelings on it. So welcome to the podcast, Danielle.
I'm excited.
Thanks for being here. So, I know you pretty well, but I don't think any of the listeners do. Can you just give us kind of where you kind of just where you grew up, how you were raised kind of, and then during that young age, what kind of led you to looking at serving in the Army?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had a little bit of a rocky time growing up with my parents until recently, as you know. There wasn't a good relationship there. And so towards the end of my sophomore year of high school, I kind of got started on my own without parents and stuff. And I went and lived with some friends and eventually ended up in CPS due to unfit living conditions. And then I just continued. I was a big volleyball player, and that really drove me to finish out high school because I did not go my entire junior year, and I had to catch up my senior year. Plus, I had scouts looking at me for my senior year, and I ended up getting full rides. There was one out here actually in Missouri, Cotty College.
The one down south, right? What is it called?
Cotty College.
Yeah. Anyone that's in Missouri, I've never heard of this place, but Danielle was talking about it. She said it's kind of a bigger college.
No, it's actually pretty small.
Very small? Okay.
Yeah, it's an all-girls school. There's also an all-guys school down the street. It's like a firefighter thing. Yeah. So pro back then, Yeah. But I got that offer, and I kind of took it seriously for a bit in my senior year. Sorry. I did the interviews and everything. I had everything lined up to come out here and to play. And last minute, I kind of ducked out and changed my mind. So I walked on to Phoenix College, their volleyball team. And at this point, I was living with two other girls in an apartment. I had graduated high school, working full time. Didn't really have parents to fall back onto. So I had to kind of figure life out at an early age. And so I had walked on to Phoenix College, and they had like 3 to 4 hours of practice a day. And then also you had to do full-time college, and then you had practice after school. Jesus. And I still had to work full-time because I didn't have my parents sending me money or anything like that. And
there's no like help at that point, right?
No, I was paying rent. I was paying for my car. I was paying for my food, my phone, insurance, all of it. And at 18, and well, really prior to that too, the state helped me with CPS until I turned 18. But at that point, I had to miss some of the practices at Phoenix College because I wasn't making enough money to meet all my bills. So I was supposed to redshirt the first year of Phoenix College, but due to missing practices, the coach actually released me on my spot. So I kind of just started working all the time at Culver's, which is a shit job. I mean, realistically, awesome. Okay. I mean, it is, but when you think about it, I wasn't going to college. I I had no family really at that time, and I wasn't really going anywhere. I felt like a loser because all my friends were either going to college or they were getting better jobs with like banks and stuff. And here I am just like smoking weed, drinking, and going to my job at Culver's. And then my hours started getting cut there, and I kept trying to apply other places, but with a high school diploma. And then uh, with the high school diploma, no college, no nothing going on for me. Nobody was willing to take me at the age of 18. So I was starting to fall into some debt, and my grandpa, who was a huge influence in my life, he had served in the army, and growing up he always told me stories about it, and it just sounded like the adventure of his life, you know. And I
Do you
had
think that was, sorry to interrupt, do you think that always was like in the back of your mind, like like your grandpa serving?
oh,
'Cause
for sure.
yeah,
It was always something I wanted to do, but when it comes down to it, do you want to like have fun and party and all that stuff, or do you want to go
yeah,
do something that's really fucking hard
yeah.
at the age of 18? You know, no one wants to really do that. Well, I mean, some people do, but like if you have the option, you know.
Well, I think when you look at me, basically the people I've interviewed so far, all of us, a big trend we have in common is we got to this point in our lives where there were points in our lives younger where you kind of had a couple hiccups, but then when you got older, you started struggling and you hit a point of, I got to do something about this. And it kind of seems like a good fix is the army.
Yeah, I think that like you guys hit that at a later part in your life. Not, I mean, not much
Yeah.
later, but in your 20s, because you guys did have that, like, not security blanket, but you guys did have your families.
Mm,
I had to figure this all out 15, 16 years old. So, like,
yeah.
if you take the timelines and match them up
Yeah.
outside of the age, it kind of lines up with
It,
everyone else.
it was hyper accelerated for you basically.
Yeah.
Like you had to just immediately jump into those roles,
Yeah.
which is hard on anyone.
Yeah. Well, and then so I started looking for a different job because I just wasn't getting the hours and really making enough money. And if I wasn't going to school, I didn't want to be working at Culver's forever. So I just applied, and actually I got interviews at Wells Fargo, and I had got a second interview like past the elimination stage essentially, and I was waiting back to hear
What?
from them. Yeah,
I'm
there's
learning things
yeah.
tonight, folks. I'm learning things.
there's like
What?
there's like a huge group interview. You sit around in like a conference room, and pretty much you're bidding yourself against each other to try to get a spot at the second
Oh
interview.
wow.
So I got into the second interview. I
That's
did
like
that. And I mean, it was a good job though, especially for my age. And there was ways to work your way up. So I was really excited about that. I was waiting to hear back. I was waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing. And I just kept falling into like deeper debt, deeper trouble because I wasn't paying rent, and I had two roommates. And I mean, I had to figure something out then, or I was going to end up back on the streets.
it's like you ever seen Pursuit of Happiness?
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah,
love that
it's
movie.
Pursuit of Happiness, but not with the happy ending. Shit just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, it just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
And I remember I was so desperate for $20 at one point that I had asked my dad, who I didn't have a good relationship with at the time, and he did not give it to me. And that's when I sat there and thought, like, if I need $20 that bad, I need to fix something.
Yeah.
So going back to my grandpa, he had served, and he always told me stories, and he used to sing me the army song, which is stupid, but
Hell yeah, dude's badass.
yeah, I mean, he
The
was
dude's badass.
infantry, Old Ironsides, so he was pretty bitchin'. But
His was, when did he serve? Like in the 50s or 60s?
during the Cold War, right after World War II.
Yeah, so in like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Which it was, for any history buffs in here, it was the pretty big conflict between us and Russia, slowly building up at that point. She always told me stories about him being over there, like in West Germany, listening for the tanks and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like he went over there, And they had briefed them. They were like, if Russia decides to invade, you guys are going to die. You guys just need to hold them off long enough until we can get more troops out here. So, like, they slept in the snow. They heard the tanks start every morning. They could see them. Little kids on the other side would shoot, like, BB guns at them or whatever and try to, like, invoke stuff. But ultimately, nothing ended up happening. Thank God, because my grandpa was a saint. But, I mean, he could have died.
Yeah, I mean, it could have spun either way. And it's just, that was a different army than me
Oh,
or you
yeah.
or even the 20-year sergeant majors in right now. They don't even know about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That was old army.
Well,
weird experience, but super badass, you know.
Yeah, he was a specialist, the 4th level or whatever they did back then.
Yeah, like the classes.
Yeah, and he was actually guarding a prisoner, and this lieutenant had walked past him one time and was like, he walked past my grandpa, and my grandpa didn't salute because he was guarding this prisoner. And the lieutenant stopped and was like, why didn't you salute me? My grandpa's like, because I'm busy, don't you see?
Yeah.
You know? And the lieutenant's like, you're fucking disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. And they got into it. My grandpa pulled a pistol on him. Yeah. But he got away with it.
Yeah.
Because it was what they did back then, apparently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a different time.
No, fuck you.
Yeah. But so I had all these stories from him, and there was a recruiter like down the street from his house. It was actually like probably 6 to 10 miles, something like that. But I drove the city, or I rode on the city bus one day over there.
This is, I just want to point out for listeners, because some people don't know, it's Phoenix. She lived in Phoenix, in the like kind of Glendale, Phoenix area.
Well, yeah.
Which was, for those that, because I didn't know, obviously, I'm just from Missouri, so like you hear it and you're just like, oh, it's Phoenix. You know, no, it's pretty ghetto in some spots. It's pretty rough. Her grandpa especially lived in a pretty rough neighborhood.
For any of you Arizona people, Phoenix, it was Maryville. So
it looks like the set of, for those that don't know any of that, the movie Friday, it looks like the set of that movie. Just real rough.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, which is, anyways, I rode the bus down to the recruiter's office. Or no, I lied, actually. I went down to the Navy office originally because that was the closest one to the apartment I was living at that time. And I was like, I want to sign up. And so they were like, okay, the first steps is to take the ASVAB. So they signed me up for that. I took it. And then I started looking at jobs, and I was like, how fast can you get me out of here? And they were like, oh, it's about 6 months from now. I said, I can't do that because I was drowning at that time.
Yeah, no,
I needed, I was like, I gotta go. Like, I don't have the money to wait 6 months. So then just after, I then went from my grandparents' house, I rode the bus down to the Army's recruiter office, and I sat down with them and was like, I already took my ASVAB. What can you guys offer me? And so they had given me my list of jobs, and I really liked the air traffic control job.
Yeah.
I was going to take it.
Highest suicide rate.
Is it?
Yeah.
They have a cush life, though.
Yeah, and I guess they get really good certification for the outside world.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They fly drones all day.
Yeah. No, they're...
Oh, no. I didn't mean air traffic controller.
Oh,
I'm sorry. The people
like,
that drive the drones. Yeah.
Hand signals and shit. Oh, okay.
The people that drive or fly the little drones,
Yeah.
Whatever. That one. That's what I meant. Anyways, but then this guy that sat across from my recruiter was like, they're giving out bonuses for medics right now. And I was like, I always wanted to be in the medical field. So I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Yeah. Like badass. And it turned out that they were giving out a $25,000 bonus for 4 years. I could have gotten like $40,000 for 6, but I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go with it. So I thought, let me just start out 4 years, and then we'll go. I mean, $25,000 at 18's a lot of money.
Absolutely, I didn't get shit.
Yeah. Well, they tax the fuck out of it.
Yeah, but either way, that nice little in your head, it sounds amazing when when you're joining?
For sure. I've never seen that much money. Yeah. I've never seen $1,000 in my bank account.
Yeah. Before I joined, the cumulative amount of cars I bought did not equal half of $40,000. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll live forever.
So I was like, sign me up for that. Yeah. So I did. And then, I don't know, I think it was like 2 weeks later, I was getting ready to go to MEPS to be shipped off to basic training. So that's kind of how I got there.
Would you say, going in, your motivation, right? Because that's what we kind of the big thing here. Your motivation for joining obviously was to, get your life a little straighter and going better. But as far as like being pumped about it, were you like, I'm gonna be a badass and stuff, or did you have a feeling of like, I just got to get this done, or this is going to scare the shit out of me, or?
Well, I wasn't really scared to go because I knew that drill sergeants can't touch you. The worst they're going to do is scream at you. And like, if you've never been screamed at in your life, sure, that sucks. But I had. And so I wasn't really scared. I mean, you're a little nervous for the unknown, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Well, yeah, I think more like it's like a shock when you get there, but I will get in that. But I mean,
yeah. Well, I think so. Again, at that point, I didn't really have a relationship with my family. Most of my friends were moving on in their lives one way or another. And I don't know. I kind of wanted the feeling of being needed.
Yeah.
And
purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose. Yeah.
And the medic really was the best position for that, because I know it's super cheesy, but when I read it before I was shipped off, I was like, man, this is badass. Mm-hmm. It was like before they cry for their mom, before they cry for God, they call out medic. Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah. It's a badass line.
Yeah.
Good hook, line, sinker.
Yeah. Well, and it's not really like that. Yeah. It's not really like that. But like, you read that and you're like, man, I'm gonna be needed,
Yeah.
So I had that drive going for me. And then I also had the drive of like, I really need to get out of here and I need to be able to get some sort of training, because if I can't take the time off of work to go to school, and I can't go to school without taking time off from work, it was like the trade-off. I just couldn't find it. So I was like, I need to do something. And the military offered that for me. And it gave me job training. They only give you EMT basic, but like that's something that you can work off of. And there's routes that you can expand off of that once you're in. And then, there's always the option to stay in after your 4 years.
Yeah.
So like, even if I did want to at the end of the contract, I had that option and I knew that at the time. So I don't know, it just kind of seemed exciting. I had never left Phoenix. I didn't really have any purpose with my life. I didn't have anything holding me back. So why not?
Yeah, I think a big hook in the beginning that is like so quickly like pulled from you is the excitement of, you're going to travel, you're going to do stuff. And then you get there and you realize you're like, oh shit, I'm still kind of homesick, even though I was trying to get rid of stuff. Like,
I don't know. I don't think you had that. I don't think I ever felt that, but I also didn't have ties back to Phoenix.
That's true, yeah.
I was by myself. Right. So like I got stationed in Washington after training, and
well, let's not jump to it before. I don't want to jump too far. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Swear to God. No, we'll get there. I just want to, we get up to this point of you shipping out, you're ready to go. You get to basic. What is your initial like feelings in those first, like, you went through basically the same way I did, where you get there and it's like a week or like couple days of in processing.
Getting the dog shit smoked out of you.
And then what, like, let's go, like, just that initial part, like first couple weeks. How did you feel?
Well, I went into it with the mind frame of you can't fail because you got nothing else.
Solid.
Yeah. The first day, like, you get there at night. Well, I got there at night, and then you get your bunks, and then you go to sleep, and in the morning, the drill sergeants get you out of your rooms.
Right.
And we're outside, and we're getting yelled at and having to do push-ups. And my first thought is, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like, it was just, I wasn't used to being accountable to somebody.
Yeah.
For a good bit of time prior to that. So to have somebody like...
You said accountable?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounded like cannibal. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Anyway.
Get out of here.
Accountable.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
Accountable. Yeah. Anyways, so I don't even know where I was at.
You weren't used to being accountable.
Cannibal, yeah.
You're getting the dog shit smoked out.
Dog shit, yeah. Well, I guess the biggest thing was like learning that, because I worked night shifts, I just had to show up at Culver's prior to that. So then to be woken up bright and early, ready to rise and grind, my favorite saying. But also to be being yelled at that point, and then having to do everything that someone tells me to do was different. But like after the first couple of days, you're like, okay, well, this is my new normal, so whatever. And you just kind of, you think of jokes, get through that. And I remember there was this guy, and my last name was Walker before we got married. So he was right next to me in the alphabet. His name was like Valenzuela or something like that. And so, I mean, through basic NAIT, he was also a medic, so he trained with me through the whole thing. But anyways, he was just so fucking funny. And he was like, every time something bad would happen and we would be getting smoked, he'd be like, you can't smoke a rock, drill sergeant. And then he got in trouble for it a few times. And then eventually he would just look at me and he would whisper it. He'd be like, you can't smoke a rock, drill sergeant.
Such a cheesy.
Yeah.
So funny.
But it was, I mean, it was like those small things that like brought humor to it. And it wasn't like terrible. It was just like, it's not fun. So it's those small bits of humor that kind of get you going.
Those are like the funniest moments in your life almost, when like shit is just haywire. Someone says something completely ridiculous and you just die laughing from it.
Oh yeah.
I think also the accountability portion you were talking about, like, I would think that'd be one of the hardest things for you probably throughout the whole career, just because you were on your own, at so early on. You're so used to it at that point, and then you get there and it's the complete opposite, where you are taking every order from another person.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, tough shit. But you're like, I've provided myself a life up till now.
Yeah.
That's a hard mental obstacle, really.
I guess. I mean, it was kind of nice too, though, to just be like, I just got to do what this person tells me and I'll be fine. I was going to have a roof over my head. I was going to be fed 3 meals, which is the most food I've ever ate in my life, was basic training in AIT. But at a certain point, you're also just so tired that you just don't care. You just start doing whatever.
Yeah.
But it was tough, but it was also nice because I was provided with all those things. So I literally just had to listen to this person that wasn't going to tell me something that was like fucked up to do, or was going to be mentally abusive towards me or anything like that. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, you just had to do it and you're good.
Yeah. It's crazy too, because it's like, you find like they give you that purpose and stuff, and then you realize later on, you're like, this is actually the most direction I've ever gotten in the Army, basically, to where everything was just provided throughout the whole experience, and all I had to do was get up and listen. And it actually, in retrospect, it's like the easiest thing you ever did almost. Oh,
definitely. Looking back on, like, when you're in it, you're like, again, you're like, this fucking sucks. But looking back, you're like, after you're out of it, you're like, man, I could do this again and again and again, because it's not that hard, really. You're just sleep deprived, and it's probably the most physical aspect of anybody's life at that point. I had played athletics like pretty much my whole life, so that part wasn't really hard for me. But I don't know, it was just
Would you
easy.
would you say that the motivation and stuff and like that attitude of getting it done, would you say that kind of kept through AIT?
I don't know. AIT, well, I mean, I'm going to college right now, for those who don't know. And you've seen me with my college work. It's terrible, but I don't have to study.
Yeah.
I can sit down and do it, except for my math class, which is fucking terrible. But that's kind of how AIT was for me. We had a long AIT for medics.
Yours is like 6 months.
4 or 6 months, something like that. And I mean, the first half of it is earning your EMT, and it's accelerated. And I remember my roommate, she went to West Point for 2 years, got kicked out because of her grades. And then so she kind of the same situation, didn't really have much left. So she enlisted. She would stay up every night till like 1, 2 a.m. studying her ass off. And I just went to bed as soon as we got back to the barracks. I didn't care. I was like, well, whatever, and then somehow I always got better grades than her, and it pissed her off so bad. Yeah. And I didn't mean, I was never rude about it, never like, oh, in your face. But like, I didn't have to stay up and study. So it wasn't in AIT at that point, it was just, I got to get it done. That's it. Yeah. I didn't really think about much else, because like halfway through, they start letting you go off base. You have to be with the battle buddy, and you're supposed to wear your PT belt, which nobody does, of course. Yeah.
Put in your pocket.
Yeah. But like, so it was just like, okay, this is kind of cool. We didn't have drill sergeants then in AIT. Yeah. And we were allowed off base. We could travel around San Antonio, because I was at Fort Sam Houston.
That's nice.
Yeah. And on our weekends, we had fun. Yeah. We had to be back at a certain time,
but you can go do stuff.
You can go do stuff, yeah. So it was kind of fun. I don't know. It wasn't like basic training. You're like, oh man, this fucking sucks. And you're just kind of like trying to get to the end. But during AIT, it was kind of like a cruise, you could say. Like you're cruising through, because I was doing fine at the school portion, and then on the weekends I was having fun, so I was just like, whatever,
Was your motivation going up at that point to like get to your duty station? You're like, I'm gonna get to the force, and it's gonna be awesome, even better, or something? Or
well, yeah, because you're pumped because you think you're gonna have this cool ass job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you're training, yeah, and then after you get the EMT portion of it, you start doing field medicine, and like you're dragging people across these big grass lots, and you're starting real IVs and
Hacksaw Ridge.
She's
living Hacksaw Ridge.
But honestly, you don't realize how many stupid people are in the Army until you see someone try to do an IV.
Yeah.
Ugh. There was quite a few times that people did not like cut off the circulation to the vein, and they would let go, and then blood would start gushing out of the catheter, and the person would start freaking out, and they're like, what do I do? And the instructor's like,
shut up, I can hear you.
The instructor's like, pinch off the vein, you idiot, there's blood going everywhere, pinch it off. And then you're just
not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know what a vein is. Like, it turned into that. So you see the idiots too. But I don't know. Yeah, there's motivation, but like you don't know where you're going either till the very end.
Yeah, that's true.
So
the assignments don't come out yet.
Yeah, and at least for me, I had this set group of like friends, I guess you could say, that I met in basic that carried through. That we went from Fort Sill to Fort Sam Houston together, and we kind of knew we were going to be split up after that.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like I don't know. I was just kind of cruising through, enjoying life. It was the first time that I've been out of Arizona with money, not worrying about much. Yeah.
Danielle, we're going to finish up with that. We'll get into that, and then we'll finish up with that and then get to the next
What if
spot.
I don't want to take a break?
We have to take a break because it only lets me record for this long.
Oh, well, that's stupid.
So we'll be right back after I take this break. Okay, welcome back, guys. Sorry for that break. We're back. Danielle was just kind of finishing up with her end of the AIT saga, where she kind of felt like you were saying you felt just kind of good with money in the pocket out of Phoenix, kind of living a good life down in Sam Houston, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then with going through that schooling and stuff, you kind of feel badass. Like, Fort Sam Houston, all the branches train their medical personnel there. And like the Army had the reputation of being the hardest medical training to go through for the medics. Like, we would all share the same shop at for TRADOC with the other branches.
Oh, okay.
So in the food court, me and I can't remember her name. There was this girl I used to hang out with all the time in AIT. We were waiting in the food court, and behind us there were two guys, one Navy, one Air Force. We just started talking with them, and they were like, "Yeah, what are you guys doing? Like, what branch are you? What are you training for?" And we told them, and they were like, "Oh man." And that kind of, like we puffed our chest out, thought we were bad.
Feeling good.
Yeah. But we were the only ones in the full battle rattle. I hate that term. It's so goofy. Yeah. But, it's the middle of summer in San Antonio, humid and hot as shit. And you have all the gear on, and you're marching a mile from the schoolhouse over to the food place. And you smell awful.
Yeah.
But like no one else did that.
Oh, none of the other branches?
No, none of the other branches. You never saw them with any gear outside. In fact, I don't think I ever saw them with any gear on.
They're like looking at you guys. What's wrong with them? What are they doing?
Yeah. So, I don't know. You felt bad. And so you kind of had that purpose of like, man, I'm going to change the world. You know how you don't really do that, but like at that time, that's what you think.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the person to save somebody's life one day.
Yeah. So it feels good because you're like, this purpose.
Yeah.
Everyone loves purpose. So you're just like, that time-honored tradition of the medical corps. Medics have been around since like, who knows, probably the, early not early civilization, but early wars, Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm saying though, it's like it's something that's always been around. It's a history to it, and there's pride in it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, like me, Ryan, Vince, and our jobs are not really a huge legacy or this. Like mine has a history, but it's not crazy, and yours is probably the longest. So I just think it's a cool job. And everyone in the Army is like, medics are cool. Medics are freaking cool.
Yeah, and you think that, right?
Yeah.
And they pump you full of that in your brain. But when you get to the real Army, it's a different story.
So we'll dive into that. So you get done with AIT, your motivation is basically sky high right now, ready to rock for like regular Army. You get JBLM, Joint Base Lewis McChord, for those that don't know. It's up in Tacoma, Washington.
Yes.
Which is about the middle of anyone not from the Pacific Northwest. You hear it and you're just like, where is that?
Yeah. I had never heard of Tacoma, Washington.
Me neither. Yeah. I heard of Seattle.
Yeah. Everyone hears of Seattle.
Yeah. So you got that. First thoughts. What are you thinking?
I was so freaking excited.
Yeah.
Because like everybody knew, even before the thought of the military came around, I always said, I want to live in Washington one day. Because I came from the desert. You get monsoon season where it rains a ton, but besides that, you just experience it for yourself. There's cactus, rocks, and really hot sun. And Washington was the opposite. It's trees, rain, and just oceans, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So I got that as my duty station, and I was just stoked. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
And so I took the block leave they offer before.
Oh, was it the 10 days or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went back to Phoenix, and my friend Trina, who I was friends with prior to the Army, I stayed with her and her husband, who was actually Army too. He was on leave. She stayed in Arizona. He was stationed out in Texas, I think. And we all just kind of hung out. We drank a lot.
Yeah, you celebrate.
Yeah.
See you later, guys. Forever.
Yeah. But no, we had fun, and I kind of came back being like, oh, yeah, I graduated medic school from the Army. Look at me,
Yeah.
because you have that false sense of like,
It's not false. It's
being badass.
In Army sense, it is, right? In military, the people that have been in, when you get done with basic training in AIT,
Yeah.
now.
Can I interrupt? Did you have those like lame patches you wore in basic training? Like when you graduate in phase?
No.
Oh, they must have started that, yeah, from when, and you think you're all cool, and then now you see it, and you're like, take that shit off. Like, you look stupid.
It's the only person wearing it besides them is a sergeant major of the Army. So
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, gross.
Sorry. Keep
No,
going.
it's what was I even talking about?
I try to ignore you half the time, so I don't know.
This is how our conversations go.
I love you though. Anyways,
so
the badass feeling you get in the Army.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you go through all this stuff. For people in the branches, they're like, you ain't shit. You're the FNG, the fucking new guy. But you come back home, people are so proud of you. Or if you tell people that aren't in, a lot of people are like, wow, congratulations, what a great feat,
Yeah.
And now me on the other end too, me being the drill now.
Yeah.
Say what you want. It does take a bit of, discipline and courage to get through the entire process of basic AIT, because there are so many people getting chaptered out. There's so many people that don't meet the requirements. There's medical issues, psychological issues. I mean, like, it's crazy. So, I think we get a lot of imposter syndrome, but there's a pride to be upheld in getting through all that.
Yeah, I think you become numb to it as you start going.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's such a dry, dark humor in the military. And like, you start forgetting that accomplishments that you achieve in the military are cool. Instead, you're just kind of like, don't show off my name, don't show off my face.
Yeah. Recognition is frowned upon in
your
mind.
Which is so messed up when you think about it.
Yeah, it creates really bad habits, probably.
Probably, yeah.
But we got real dark here.
So I took that leave, and then I show up at my duty station.
Do you remember, just real quick through that? Do you remember the flight up there where you see like Mount Rainier and stuff?
Honestly, I don't think I didn't fly in. When I went home on leave, I bought my 2014 Kia Soul, and I drove up.
It up there,
yeah.
Badass car.
Yeah. It was.
That's a long drive too.
It was a long drive.
I-5 the whole way.
I don't know. My ex at the time, my boyfriend of the time, he helped me drive up. He drove most of the way.
Oh, okay. So still a long ass drive.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean. Haven't talked to you in years. So hope your life's going well.
So you get up. I'll kill you, Sean. No, I'm just kidding. You get up to JBLM. First thoughts on like not getting there, but in processing your unit, you get there, you meet other medics.
Well, our graduating class in medic training school, I was in Delta Company. Most of us took leave. Most of us got Fort Lewis.
Oh, okay.
So we all kind of met back up in the barracks in processing. So I don't know, but personalities really started to peek through there. Like, people started becoming their normal selves.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
that can be good or bad.
It went both ways.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I showed up. My friend Torville, he got there at the same time. We kind of like made sure we both got there at the same time, so we would have somebody to like walk in and kind of figure things out with together.
Yeah.
And we signed in and we got our barracks rooms, and I was waiting for my name to be called and in processing for probably 2 weeks. So I'd show up for morning formation, my name didn't get called, and then I left.
Yeah. And you just kind of hang out.
Just hang out. I slept a lot.
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yep. Should have been working out. For those who are about to join the military, don't stop working out, because then you get so out of shape.
Well, especially now with the new PT test, you need to work out.
Like, yeah. On leave, on days you have off, go run.
So you went to a medic unit.
Yeah, 62nd Med.
Yeah. The brigade, right?
Brigade, yeah.
So it's a whole medical brigade. For those that are not familiar with the Army,
Force Com.
A brigade is like, a company consists of about 120 people, give or take.
Ours were smaller.
Yeah, like 80 probably, 100.
Yeah, something.
So you got 100 in each company. Let's say 100, and that's 3 or 4 companies with at the headquarters. That's in a battalion. So there's like 400 or 500 people in a battalion. Typically 300 to 400 actually, because Manning's messed up. But anyway, there's 3 or 4 battalions in a brigade. So that is 1,200 people, give or take. So there's 1,200 people in this medical brigade, which a medical brigade consists, not like, I'd say 80% of it, 70% of it is medics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think you can expand on that. I think that's interesting that you're around that many people that help you train and work with you.
Yeah. So there was like a cache, which is a combat hospital.
Oh yeah.
I think there was two units of that. And then there was a whole bunch of ground ambulance support, which is what I was in.
Uh-huh.
And
what is that like?
Essentially, if you were going to go out on a mission, you would be the people going to the site and transporting them if they were going by ambulance, air quotes, which is the FLAs that the Army has. It's like the Army edition of a regular ambulance.
Okay.
So you would have to learn how to, like, each squad got a set of their own ambulances.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I was a driver, and I had my TC.
Yeah.
And we were.
Still don't know what it means.
No, but I mean, there was like a standard put out of how the back of your ambulance should look, but of course you could tweak it a bit to how you wanted it. Mm-hmm. So you were able to do that, and that was pretty much our missions were to train using those ambulances in the most sufficient way possible.
Yeah. And that's like, I met you basically a year into your career? Mm-hmm. About a year. And when I met you, that's like all you did. Like when I heard you talk about training and stuff, and then afterwards and stuff, all you guys did was train and train and train on those things.
Yeah. Well, for a good chunk, we were on the mission Due Surf.
Yeah.
Which had chemical core.
Yeah, it's like a national mission.
Yeah.
But it's in the States.
It's for if there's chemical attacks done, we would be the first people to show up out of the entire Army. We were medically, I don't know about the other units that were attached to it, but we would have been the first ones to respond, because at that point, that was our mission, was to be the top trained people to go and be the first responders on that.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, because chem units that had it typically, they say it, just like you briefed it, like it's one of the most important jobs, like the first to respond. Mm-hmm. Chem people take it not as a joke, but the lower guys are like, this shit ain't happening. But in a medic aspect, you're like, I'm going to be on my shit.
Well, like, obviously you have the people that are inadequate, but somehow make it through training in the medical force. You don't want them working. right?
Yeah.
But the rest of us who were adequate, not to like toot anybody's horn, but you wanted, at that point, all we did was training. And like, it's a bit of a spirit crusher because you want to go out there and actually do stuff.
Yeah.
But you also think through the training of, I want to be ready and I want to be able to save somebody's life, because if I don't take this seriously now, I'm going to get out there and I'm not going to know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's the type of job you can't do that at.
no, because quite literally, you could kill
Kill
somebody.
somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's your first assignment, regular Army. You How do you feel like 3/4 in? We don't have to go deep into like, me and you meeting,
Yeah.
get married, have a kid,
Boring.
but what lead up to, what was your motivation? Spoiler alert, you got out.
Yeah.
What led to that decision?
Well, you went to Afghanistan.
Right.
I don't know. I guess
Let's not.
No. No, leading up to that, I mean,
it was you.
You asshole. Yeah. No, seriously though, leading up to that, all we did was training. We were useless. We were replaceable. And it got old. For years, what we did was we set up these ambulances, then we got new direction. We took everything out of ambulances, put them in connexes until they printed out a spreadsheet that looked pretty.
Yeah.
To reset up them. So it was a lot of walking these heavy ass medical cases, inventorying them back and forth in the motor pool. Yes.
We did the same shit with chem stuff.
Oh,
it's the
for
most
sure.
annoying shit in the world.
Yeah, and you just feel stupid at that point.
Yeah, and then you wait on like an LT or like a platoon sergeant to come
Oh,
check
yeah.
it, and they don't come, and you're like, what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on?
but that's literally what I did every day for a few years. And it got old, and then so.
Would you say the professional side weighed on you more, or the personal side?
I think I got in my own head because I was recognized by the commander of our battalion for the way I held myself during like layouts and stuff, and I felt that I had like this bigger purpose, and I was kind of being held back in a sense because we had done funeral honors and I was given the head position in that, and we did that for like 6 months. And everyone I ran into was like, why is a private doing, because at that time I was like PFC or something.
Why is the
private? Yeah. Why are they in charge of it? And my LT was like, because she's good.
Yeah.
Like, not tooting my own horn, but like legitimately that's what happened. And then I got recognition from the battalion commander or whatever. But then you go back to doing the same shit and moving stuff around.
Yeah, there's no
and you join with the thought of, I'm going to be saving people's lives. Yeah. But what are you doing?
Funeral details and layouts.
And moving goddamn boxes. Yeah. So I guess the time came where you were going to go to Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. We just had our first kid.
Well, you were pregnant at that point when we learned about Afghanistan.
Well, yeah, I was pregnant at that time.
Well, were you? Do we know?
Yeah. No, we thought you were going to Korea.
Because we thought you were going to. No, we thought you were going to Iraq.
Oh, yeah, I was supposed to go to Iraq. But
I thought I was going to Kuwait and then Qatar and then Afghanistan. It was weird. Yeah.
It was just a big mess. Yeah. So then the time came where I needed to decide. And I decided that my children it would be more harmful to my children than to the Army if I was absent. Like, the Army can replace me. My children, they cannot.
I think that's a good way to look at it in retrospect.
Don't get me wrong, it was hard.
Right. But I think it's such like a strong decision. And I think I'm going to step on toes here. I think a lot of people make the other decision where they say, my career is more important than being in my children's life all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe that's the life they chose, and that's fine. But that's something you do have to live with when you make that decision.
I think a big part of it for me was my egg donor, biological mother. Shout out to leaving the country and ditching your kids. Piece of shit.
You kind of
Anyways,
breezed over that. Yeah.
she's garbage. Anyways, I didn't have a mother in my life. I did, and she was abusive, and it was awful. And then the time came for me to become a parent, and and then I had to make the choice of, am I going to break the cycle?
Yeah.
And
you did.
I hope I do. I try really hard every day too.
You do.
But I still feel like I can do better.
But
anyways, I wanted, like I said, there's thousands of people in the military. Every week there's graduating classes in AIT.
You are replaceable.
I am replaceable, 100%.
I didn't mean like you. I meant like everyone in the Army that's listening.
100%.
The Army down
especially the lower enlisted.
Yes.
Because that's what you come in as. So the lower enlisted, I was a specialist. I wasn't going to get promoted anytime soon. Our points were maxed out to go to E5. Yeah. I was going to sit at specialist for years. Yeah. So I could either do that and waste my time and play like little fuck games, because our battalion commander wanted everybody at work until 5 p.m. It didn't matter if you were sitting on your ass for 5 hours. He wanted you in that building.
Yeah, you sit up in a team room playing on games and shit.
Oh, yeah. I sat in a rolly chair. You know what? My fondest memory was of his name at the time was Specialist Barnes. Funniest guy I've ever met in my life. Yeah. Just a goofy dude.
Yeah, you told me about him.
Oh, yeah. He's fucking funny.
I met him.
Yeah, he was funny. I don't know if you met the joking side of him. But anyways, we would get these rolly chairs and then go into the bays where we kept our cages were. Mm-hmm. We would have races of who can make it to the other side of the bay and back faster. That's what the tax dollars are paying for. Anyways.
But those are fun moments, too. They're so fun.
The thing is, my time in the Army may have been short, but it is a time that I will never forget.
For sure.
I don't know if you want me to get into the big picture yet.
Do whatever you want.
Okay. I think that while I didn't stick with the Army being my decision, it was the best decision of my life, because one, it gave me job training. It made me mature. I may have been on my own for a long time prior. I wasn't mature though. I had to make mature decisions, but it helped me.
Yeah.
It showed me what a true job was like. It gave me purpose, which I was lacking at that point. And not to be gushy, but it led me to our beautiful family we have today.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
And if I wouldn't have done that, maybe I would have followed in my mom's footsteps and being a piece of shit back in Phoenix with a trash-ass life, doing drugs, drinking, whatever. But that's what helped me break the cycle.
Yeah.
So.
And it did.
Yeah.
Danielle is a wonderful mother of 4 now. She is graduating with a criminal justice degree in the summer.
April 29th is my graduation day. Yubbish.
We own a house. We own 2 cars. We
fully own one of them, which is a big achievement. It's a 2017 for those.
Me and her both talk about how we never thought we'd have things like this, and now it's amazing. So, let's kind of round it out. No, you don't have to round that out, but so you get out, right?
Yep.
Because your ultimate purpose was right there. How did you feel the first 2 years, though?
Awful.
You regretted it, or just? Or it just sucked transitioning out?
Well, I think this is a problem not just for military moms, but moms in general who go from the working field to stay-at-home moms. Those first couple years, and you felt it during COVID when you had to stay home, you don't feel like you have a purpose. You
Yeah.
feel like your life has just been, although you're doing a great thing, you feel like your life has just crumbled because you're wiping poopy butts and you're a snack bitch. Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's,
I think I did a lot of research on it on different mom blogs and stuff, which how legit is that? But um trying to figure out why I felt so depressed all the time. And I used to think like, man, if I was in the army still right now, like I would have a purpose in life.
mhm.
So it took me a long time to adjust to the thought process of I do have a purpose here. And even some days you get the phone calls from me, I still struggle from it. But after what I've been a stay-at-home mom for what? 3 years? 4 years? 4 years.
2018.
I don't know.
Yeah.
4 years. Something like that.
Yeah. 5 years.
Mm,
Or
yeah.
no.
No,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
4.5?
Yeah.
Something like that. It doesn't matter.
Math ain't mathing.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. I waited till the end of my
A
college
while,
degree
yeah.
to do math. But it took a lot of mental health medication, counseling, and our kids being able to tell me that they love me and give me a little smooch on the cheek,
Yeah.
to really feel like I was serving a purpose here at home.
Absolutely.
And I remember talking to my my chaplain before getting out. And I went into him and I'm like, I'm really struggling with my decision because I can either keep on going in my career and do like a life sort of thing,
Mhm.
or I can go home and I'm not contributing anything. And he looked at me and he's like, why do you think you're not contributing anything at home? I was like, because I'm not paying any bills. I'm not important to anybody. I'm just at home changing diapers, And he was like, I think that maybe how you were raised led you to have that like mind frame of you were always fending for yourself. So your importance came from providing.
Mhm.
But he was like, my wife stays at home, homeschools my kids, which props to the parents that do that because I could never.
Yeah.
And he was like, she's my saving grace. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for her.
Yeah. We're going to take a break in a second, but for the moms that stay home, your job is one of the most important jobs in the world.
And the most underpaid.
The most underpaid, but it's like it just has so much spread and importance, and it is I think it's not underwhelmed by the people that see it, like the husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my mind, you guys are working harder than we are, but in society, I think most people have a stereotype to it that remains to be broken.
Oh, I have an opinion on that, but I'll
So
wait till after the break.
Okay, yeah, we'll go to break. We'll be right back on why men are wrong.
You're damn right.
We'll be right back. All right, guys, jump back in. Sorry, we were talking about the stay-at-home mom thing and how it has its issues and
Stigmas.
yeah, stigmas. I was just trying to show Danielle, it is appreciated in some realms. It just still has this harsh stereotype.
Well, I think the biggest thing is stay-at-home moms was a norm, right? In the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, well,
somewhere around there.
Yeah,
I'm not a history person.
All the way up to really the 70s or 80s, where two-income family was really needed.
Which it still really is.
Yeah.
But I think that right now the movement with like women's rights or whatever, people think we're suppressed. So I think a lot of those people push and create a stigma around stay-at-home moms because we're falling into the quote unquote traditional roles, and that's going against the women's rights or whatever. But I had a discussion in one of my college classes about it, and it was like, I still believe in women's rights. but I choose to be at home with my kids because that's where I want to be. That
Yeah,
doesn't mean I'm giving up my rights or anything. That just means I'm doing something I enjoy.
yeah, I think,
I'm still going to college. I'm still getting a college degree. I don't pour you a glass of whiskey on rocks when you get home in a dress.
yeah, we still fight about that, but
Yeah.
it's whatever.
Yeah, dresses are overrated, by the way.
um, I think it's a weird idea that you have to be this not to get too political, but like outspoken person of, you don't need to be a subservient. And then this idea of like, women belong in the kitchen. There's a, when you marry someone, it's a balance.
Yeah, like you clean the living room, I clean the kitchen.
Right. Not
It's
only
not
that,
me like scrubbing the whole house every day. We share our roles at home.
yeah. And, right now, especially, I spend, 12, 16 hours at work dealing with the bullshit. It provides the income. You spend 12, 16 hours here with our children
The
and
psychopaths.
the terrorist,
Yeah.
and it provides a healthy family home, which I think in today's society you don't have as solid ones anymore. That's just like, I don't want to. We're jumping down a rabbit hole, and I'm not
Right.
trying to push my views, but I think a stay-at-home mom provides a, not to say that the people that don't have it, but the people that do, it is a very stable household figure that the children rely on heavily.
Well, it's just like one of those things where like I didn't grow up with it. I didn't grow up with a real mom. So it's just something I wanted to do. I always knew I kind of wanted to play a bigger role in my kids' lives.
Mm,
So I'm able to do that. And I did have that portion where I was in the army, something a lot of women don't do,
yeah.
which I forgot to mention. When I first got to my unit in JBLM,
Mm.
there was a lot of pushback for me being a young girl in my unit.
How many other females
I
do you
think there
think were in
was
there
3 total in our
in your
unit.
company?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And we were definitely treated different, but you don't say nothing because you got to earn your spot. And
Yeah.
it is what it is. So hopefully that changes one day. But back to where I was at. Um, I'm going to have a college degree. I served my country and I played sports and I do all those things and I'm still very opinionated. And I just stay at home and take care of my kids.
Yeah.
And like, I think another big factor in it, which is our lives aren't going to be like this forever if you being a drill sergeant, but you are gone a lot. And if I was to work, our kids quite literally
Would never
wouldn't
see
really
their
know
parents.
us
Yeah.
because no one would be home ever. And I would drop them off at daycare or whatever and pick them up and then still have to play catch up all before you even get home from work. So it just fits our lives well. And it's not for everyone, but for us, it works good.
Yeah, that's a good explanation of it. I was like, in my head, I was thinking that. I'm like, not everybody works the same,
Yeah.
and it's whatever. I don't bash anyone for what their
No.
habits
Some
are.
people can both work and balance it really freaking well.
There's some days me and you wish we could do that.
Oh, for sure.
The money,
The
the
money
money,
and the mental break.
and the mental break. But then there's some days where, like, I know you and me are so happy that you are home with the kids doing that. So
There are many days where I call you and I'm like, let me join the army again.
yeah.
But those are the days where I'm at my worst mentally.
And
I
then,
like where I'm at.
yeah, and then there's days you call me with stories about the kids or them calling you a clown.
Yeah, Jamie called me a clown in the car today.
Yeah,
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, he's learning.
Yeah, he's funny.
It's good.
Yeah.
So we went off
On a huge tangent.
Tangents for days. You decide to get out. You're doing that. Ultimate thoughts on getting out. We were talking about basically you being the stay-at-home mom and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of just to round things out, what would you say? Let's say 2 pieces of advice. One good one and one bad. Not bad advice, but things about the army that are good, things about the army that are bad. What would you tell new soldiers that are coming in? Let's go with the good first.
The good. The good. Could I be like, don't spend all your money out of training? Because I know majority of people have never seen that much money in your bank account. And your drill sergeants always tell you, don't go spending all that money. But you do.
She's talking about me. She's talking about me spending every dime. No, she didn't know me then, but
I mean, everyone does it though. I did it.
Yeah, you enlisted, you blow that money because you've never seen a paycheck, and you're like, well, I don't got to pay bills.
Yeah, and it racks up while you're through training. So once you see your bank account, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, save that money.
Yeah, save it.
Let it work for you or something.
Or put it at a down, or use it as a down payment on a car. Yeah. You know?
Something.
Yeah, or debt.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get more paychecks. You're going to be able to buy those cool beat headphones or those nice clothes or whatever. They'll always be there. You're going to get more money. Use that big chunk wisely, because you're not going to have a chance again where all your money compounds in your bank account and you come out with a nice little chunk.
It's the best feeling ever. I remember it so well.
Yeah. And it's a nice feeling to spend it, because a lot of us haven't done that before.
Yeah, you buy clothes you never could afford and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. What about bad advice? Or not bad, I keep
like things to look out for?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's political or not.
Do it.
I feel like, well, there's two sides to this.
Mm-hmm.
For women joining the military, don't play on the female card. Don't be like, oh, this is too heavy for me. Can you help me? Mm-hmm. Like, pull your own weight. The women have a terrible name in the Army because of people like that. Because people want to be like, oh, I'm a girl, I can't lift this. Tough shit. You join the military, you're an equal. Yeah. You want to be treated as an equal? Act like one.
Equal rights, equal fights.
Well, it's just like, don't be a pansy. Yeah. Then the other thing is for the females, look out for each other. Not all men are awful, obviously. But there are some out there that will get you drunk and will take advantage of you.
I think
so. Just watch out.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up. I push heavy in my mind now if our kids wanted to join, and we have 2 daughters, and I don't know if it's as prevalent for Danielle. It probably is. I think if my daughter joined, I immediately have to worry about sharp stuff, and that pisses me off insanely. Because I know it's a giant population, but it's...
Well, that's part of the issue, is it is a giant population. So you don't just have good people.
No.
You have all people from all different walks of life.
Yeah.
So watch out for each other. If you are going to choose to get drunk,
that's what the battle buddy system is.
That's exactly what I'm...
It's not for...
Make sure you find somebody that you're going to be like, hey, if I get too drunk, be there for me.
Home. Please do something. Yeah.
Make sure I don't leave with somebody or whatever. Yeah.
That's a good point. I like that.
And I guess that goes for males too. I'm going from a female perspective, but it happens to everybody.
Yeah, I've had a couple males tell me that they've had instances in the past where bad shit happens. I think for males, number one, I think the heavy culture of drinking is way heavier for males. I think depression...
I don't know. I used to fucking smash handles of vodka to try to prove that I can,
right, but you did it socially.
Keep up with people.
Yeah, you did it socially.
Yeah.
I think men drink alone. I think especially E4 and above. I think we tend to... I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I've done it 1,000 times, drink by myself, And I'm not talking like drink by myself like tonight. I'm having a couple beers while I'm sitting with Danielle. I'm
New beers.
Huh?
New beers.
Yeah, Yingling. Shout out East Coast. If anyone's listening, brag and stuff, you know what I'm talking about. But these are tasty. Okay, they're not beating Busch lattes, but they're up there. I mean, I'm the first to admit I'll have, like, in the barracks when I had my own room, I'll make some drinks by myself and play video games or watch Grey's Anatomy, whatever. Like, but you got to find a line to where,
You gotta find the balance.
Is this a problem? Am I drinking to make myself sadder? Am I drinking to feel sorry for myself? And then,
well, I think also that if you come home and do it every day, at a certain point, if you don't do it one day, something feels off, and that's when you know there's an issue.
yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of people that like they grew up with their dads drinking beers every night,
Yeah.
and you think it's okay, but then you realize one turns into three, turns into six, and then you got a big problem on your hands because it's starting to if it starts affecting work performance and those people around you, it's a major problem.
That's also where you have somebody, kind of goes back to what I said, have somebody looking out for you.
Right? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it jumps back into that of someone being there to support you. So males, I haven't really brought it up too much on a podcast, but mental health too is a major issue.
I am a huge advocate
Yeah,
for mental health.
I think we both like have just we push it to each other so heavily. I would love to push that out to everybody.
Sorry,
You're good.
I'll be the first to say that, like, I needed medication, especially right after you left for Afghanistan. I was really fucking depressed. And I felt like if I went to a doctor and said, hey, look, these are my issues, something's wrong, I was showing weakness. And fast forward a few years, I'm on a couple different things, and I'm a different person for the better.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with you. It's literally a chemical imbalance in your brain. It's not like your personality, you being weak, whatever. It's something you can't control. Sometimes it is situational, but I mean, go get help. Don't let it get bad enough to the point where you're in your laundry room bawling your eyes out all day.
I think I'm I've been going to VH for a couple years now, on and off. I mostly just get counseling now, but it does help. I think this podcast probably is a big one. Venting.
One, it's something you're
Talking.
passionate about.
Right.
If you have that passion, it gives you a drive.
Right. If you don't have that in your life, which a lot of Army soldiers, again, we loop back to these things, these trends of
you end up
purpose.
living your job.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with kids. You live your job. You live being a parent. You got to find that balance of you separated outside of it.
And if your job has no purpose, like we were talking about,
then you kind of go into a dark hole.
100%. You just start hating life. You're mad. And
you start drinking a lot.
Yeah. So I preach that for everyone here, male and female alike. Nothing wrong with going and getting help. The Army is actually so easy now. It used to be a stigma. It used to prevent you from jobs.
That's the biggest thing that people still think about. I had so many NCOs that I know on a personal level, and like HIPAA. I saw medical files, okay? I won't say names because that's violating HIPAA, but there are so many people on shit that you have no idea about because there is a stigma that no one will talk about it. It doesn't prevent you from being deployed. It doesn't prevent you from having the clearance. It doesn't prevent you from going to the ranges. It's okay. Yeah. No one's going to know. If you don't tell somebody, no one's going to know.
There's drill sergeants with on medication. There's drill sergeants that go to BH weekly, all this stuff. Still a drill sergeant, which is one of the most vetted jobs in the Army right now.
Yeah.
So
I think that's
don't be hesitant. If you are sad, if you are out of whack, go talk to someone or talk to one of your friends that's in the Army. I'm not going to call them a battle buddy. It's weird. Talk to a friend.
Not only that, the VA has a VA suicide helpline. If you call the VA number, the first thing it'll give you before it turns you on to the options for wherever you're trying to call, it gives you an option to talk to the suicide helpline. There are options out there. Don't become one of the 21 a day.
Yeah, I'll put the link in below for Military One Source. They actually offer for veterans, active duty, anybody, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever, Army. They give 12 months, one free session per month. They will give that to you for free. So think we looked at it once. You can get marriage counseling, you can get solo counseling, you can get whatever.
Mhm.
It's free. So reach out if you need to. I'm always here. That's the whole reason I'm talking to people is trying to figure out stuff.
Shoot, I'll even talk to people.
Yeah, call us.
I'm here all day, every day, friends.
If you are sad, reach out. There's a billion answers. Okay,
Yeah.
so I like that. I like that we ended with that. Finally, I guess we'll get off our
tangent.
No, it's good.
No, I think that's important though. I don't think enough people cover that.
Yeah, I want that known. Finally, to end it, I'm gonna ask Danielle. I ask every person recommendation for a movie, like motivates you, gets you going.
Motivates me.
Mm-hmm.
Not something I like, just something that motivates me.
Kind of both, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah. This is going to sound cheesy because we're on a military podcast. 12 Strong is a bitchin' movie.
12 Strong is badass.
Yeah, it's badass. Yeah. It makes you feel the fire,
For those that never heard about it, it's 12 Strong is it third group or fifth group?
I don't know. It's one of the SF groups.
It's either third group or fifth group, which is Green Berets Special Forces. It's one of their units. In the beginning of the war in Afghanistan, I believe it's like 2002, early 2002.
No one had gone for a counterattack against 9/11. This was the first people who entered the country.
This is between September and whenever the first initial invasion was. This group goes in. This team got selected. They go in. They go up to northern Afghanistan,
work with local militia.
Mazar al-Sharif, which is an area up there, which was already for about 10, 20 years a nightmare of hostile fire between Russian-backed insurgents, which was like the Mujahideen, and then you had the local not rebels, but they were like the militias. Local militias. They were defending their areas basically.
But they were also fighting each other.
Right.
It was just it was a fucking mess.
Yeah. And the Green Berets went in and basically they were like, the Taliban. Peace. They were like, we're going to take out the Taliban in this area.
Yeah, they gave them a common goal.
They were riding around on horses in northern Afghanistan.
The United States military was riding on fucking horses.
Badass.
In the 2000s.
And it's Chris Hemsworth and Michael Pena.
Which I mean, ladies, watch it.
Men, watch it. It's fucking hot. No, it's cool. It's a really good show or movie.
I think it gives a good perspective too, because like military movies are like, you watch it and if you lived it, you're like, man, this is cringy. But I like that movie. I think it gets you going.
I think it's a good push too for people that if you went to Afghanistan or anything, because like I went and I saw nothing, and you're like, why the fuck are we here? It shows a basis of why we are supporting those people and what they're going up against, because it sucks and they're getting shit on by the Taliban.
And don't spoil it for people.
Spoiler alert: Afghanistan.
The Taliban in Afghanistan.
The Taliban. Yeah. So that's a good rec. I didn't expect that from you.
Why?
I don't know. You watch it all the time, but there's so many military ones.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So yeah, Danielle, I think we're ending on a high note here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, we do live together, so.
Yeah, she didn't have. Yeah, it was either this or she just hear me talking to myself.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Thank you so much, though. It was a pleasure having you on. I hope a lot of people took stuff from this. I think this was like one of our top episodes so far. So
you're damn right.
Yeah, you're goddamn right. I love you.
Love you too.
And
cringy.
Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoy it. I hope we're getting a little better for y'all. Please be sure to like and download the podcast, as well as follow me on Facebook, TikTok, or Facebook, Instagram, on here. Twitter. I'm going to get Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok page up this week.
We're going to start hyping it up soon.
Yeah, and I'm getting better recording equipment, so we should have a pretty solid basis.
You should have a pretty solid basis. This is all you, friend.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for listening.
Wait, just a last push. Everyone remember, the VA's got a suicide line. I just want everyone to remember that.
It'll be down below. I promise.
All right, that's it.
See you guys.